Good Life Vision brings Lac Courte Oreilles Child Support Services together with community partners to preserve, strengthen, and renew Ojibwe values in our LCO youth by providing opportunities to learn about our cultural history, values, and practices to support good life parenting and reduce the negative effects of generations of cultural trauma.
How do you be a responsible parent? You're a responsible parent because you learn from your parents, from your grandma, your aunties, your uncles, all your community around you to be a responsible parent. And after generations, if that's taken away from you, how do you know then to be that? You need to start with the youth and thinking back to the boarding school and what that was designed to do to kind of take the Indian out of the kid and put him back on the reservation, send him home after he's lost his identity. So with the camp, I was thinking, okay, responsible parenting. This is my chance to do a camp and do it the way I want to do it.
Sue Smith, who's the director, has really got a great vision for what child support can do. It's much more than just collecting and dispersing funds. For her, it's really about, the whole notion of family and parenting and using this to kind of do outreach about the importance of community and family and, responsible parenting and much beyond kind of the limits of what you think about with child support. And I really, really appreciated that leadership and vision that she's brought to bear.
When it comes to responsible parenting and economic mobility, and you bring it into, a tribal community, you always have to look at the generational trauma. It decades where, children were taken from their homes and they weren't allowed to hug, they weren't allowed to give that love, their hair got cut off, and so many things that just very emotional, but we wanted to make sure that this camp and this grant focused on bringing their culture back. We called it the Good Life Camp for a reason, because we want it to be living the good life.
Minabamadaziwin, and that's a good life. And when I think of living a good life, I think of being honest and being able to see things positive. Even in anything that we're taught, anything, maybe a bad instance that we have in our life, there's always going to be something positive. You take that, you look more for the positive than the negative, because that negative is our teacher. And being able to incorporate that in our own lives is a good thing.
The Good Life Vision is funded by the Office of Child Support Services under their Charting a Course for Economic Mobility and Responsible Parenting Grant Initiative. The goal is to educate and motivate teens and young adults to postpone parenthood until after they complete their education, establish a career, and enter into a committed relationship. This success sequence has been researched within mainstream populations and suggests that if followed, teens experience less poverty and will be more economically self-sufficient as adults.
Success sequence doesn't necessarily apply in a community like this, where unlike maybe mainstream America, a teen girl who has a child in this community has an extended family oftentimes to help with that.
There's a huge difference when it comes to tribal communities because we're all a family. We help each other out. We, babysitting and just everything to do with our community, we're there. You'll see it at every event. You'll see the same people because we all care and we all want to make a difference.
In many of the implementations of this grant, they're really working on trying to encourage delaying having children or doing pregnancy prevention type things, which is not a priority for this particular population because of the very deeply held belief that every child born is a gift from the Creator. So it's taken a different spin here. And what they're doing, I think, is really creative and really right on target, which is that we know from research that any increase or any connection that youth have to their culture as natives increases their resiliency in many ways. So It's been shown to improve mental health, the prevention of substance abuse, and health and other kinds of outcomes. So the focus of the Good Life Project then is to increase the cultural connectedness for the youth who participate, and it's been a proven strategy to be effective. And so they've taken a broad approach to this responsible parenting and economic mobility grant, but a creative one and really appropriate to their community.
The LCO Child Support Services took a tribally unique approach to their project. They created the Good Life Culture Camp for their youth, ages 11 through 13, and recruited community members and staff from local organizations who understood the vision for the camp. In addition, the LCO Culture Camp was located in a magical setting that was once part of their ancestral homeland.
It is about finding the right people, the people that are passionate about what your vision is.
My director, Sue Smith, she kind of brought it up to me and said, hey, we're applying for this grant and I think you'd be great working with it and working with us. In our culture, responsible parenting or positive parenting, economic mobility all starts with our culture, and it all begins with our youth. They're going to be our future. So when we discuss the camp and discuss going over the 7 grandfather teachings and our language class, it just all kind of fit.
When I was approached to work with this camp, I was given a general idea that we wanted our students here to have experience with language. And one of the first questions I asked was, where are our language skills? And then I became immediately aware of everybody's in a different place.
As the Good Life Camp knows me as a grandmother, as a helper. I run the woodland song and dance teachings for our camp. I have a strong Catholic side, I have a strong Medewan side, I have a strong Big Drum side, I have a strong Powwow side. So I'm like surrounded, and I try to use the best out of each to walk a balance in my life with my own children. When you work with culture, you give back to the community. We do it for our children to have a better foundation of who they are, where they come from, and where they're going. Pretty simple.
The Good Life Project has included multiple components that have been unfolding and kind of developing as the 2 years have gone on. So the first thing we did was the IndigiDream videos, where we convened a group of individuals from the community, adults, who kind of shared their stories and shared information about what they felt like was important about parenting. And that was a really important kind of kickoff of these individuals sharing information about struggles that they had gone through and how their own kind of connections to culture had helped them to come back from a difficult place. And then they started working on developing this camp. And it started out kind of as a plan to have a day camp within Lac Courte Oreilles, and then expanded when they connected to the Camp Highlands camp to an overnight camp.
I'm the director of Camp Highlands for Boys. And I've been at Camp Highlands every single summer of my life because my parents met here when they were camp counselors together. It was a real-life camp romance, so just like in the movies. So the location of the property, I think, is really just one of the most magical aspects of Camp Highlands. Originally, it was just on the plot of land, which is the highest point around on Plum Lake. But then over time, they bought more and more of the property, finally purchasing an old fishing camp that dates, some of the buildings of which date back to the 1880s and 1890s. So people have been traveling through this area for forever, for millennia. And there's a real magic up on that hill and in this whole region.
It's a beautiful camp, beautiful area. It's the first time natives were here, but it's like, as in the camp, and the first time girls were here last year. Our ancestors already came over with the birch bark canoes, they already paddled through and they already portaged through, and went and got their wild rice, went and got their maple syrup, and did their hunting and fishing, put up their wigwams. Wherever they needed to go, they went, you know? So you could feel that. That's what I'm saying. You could feel that presence because the animals were already telling us. They were already singing to us. The eagles were singing to us. You know, they're just like, they're so happy to see our children and hear their laughter. It's almost like the trees are talking to each other. There's big white pine trees here, you know, that knew our grandparents and they knew their grandparents.
We started looking into, okay, let's do that, bringing the kids all over here. And last year we did it, and it was amazing. It was successful.
We did 31 kids last year with 7 staff members. And it was a struggle. Last year was definitely a learning curve. We every night stayed up by probably 2, 3 in the morning redoing the schedule, but nobody wanted to leave. It was so magical. It was so much fun. Everybody loved it.
They love swimming. They're little fish. They love swimming. Walking in the woods, learning the plants, learning the trees, learning the medicines.
I think that's, I think that it helps, like, these kids, like, really feel, like, what we're trying to teach them. Because if you, like, put them in, like, a building and start trying to lecture them about their culture, they're not gonna, like, retain that as much as well as, like, you know, going outside and, like, showing them what we do, you know what I mean? So, I mean, yeah, it's really great that they're out here and, like, actually experiencing it firsthand instead of just, you know, being told it.
It took a lot of talking to parents and a lot of reaching out and a lot of like, hey, you have an 11-year-old, hey, you have a, you know, 13-year-old, do you think they'd be interested in camp? And explaining our goal is just making sure our kids know that they're the ones that matter.
I really didn't know what to expect either or what it was about at the time. I had 2 young boys staying with me at the time. We signed them up and we knew it was for a week long, but I knew it had to do with the culture and the language, but it was way more than I had expected. I know Melinda is like a really good person and the people that were doing the camp were really awesome, so I felt safe with sending them.
I really thought it would be good for them to connect during the summer with kids their own age and different similarities and all that, and just to meet new people and all that. So that's where I was really excited about it.
So it's just like for our children to just get away, you know, for a week, it's a blessing because they get away from all of that from home, whatever they might be going through. Okay, and here they can be young kids for that age and just be themselves and be happy and loving and smiling. And
I would say that this is a good camp for children to come and make friends, to learn about their culture, and to just get out of reality because everybody just stuck up at home, you know? And I feel like the camp benefits the kids because we're trying to like teach them all these things and then it gives them time to think about it. I just think it's a really good thing for their mental health too.
And we had, I would say our campers from last year were our recruiters for this year.
My brother's friends with Mason, Mindy's son. So Mason, his mom told him about Good Life Camp last year. So and then Desmond told Julia, and I wasn't old enough then, but so they went the first year, and then now I'm here the second year.
Now we have 56 kids instead of 31, so something worked. Now we have so much of our community involved in it. And again, we had 7 staff members last year? We have 30 this year, where the Boys and Girls Club was able to reach out to us and say, hey, we heard about your camp and we want to be involved.
So it just seemed like a really great fit that we would be able to help them. And also, I thought it would be really cool for our kids to see our staff outside of club. What a great way to just interact with our kids on a different level and build those relationships that don't necessarily happen at the club, or late night talks, you know, in your cabin, or walking to your next group and they're talking about their fears. And I feel like the kids and the staff really become more vulnerable when they're outside of their natural environment, which can only strengthen their relationships. We may not be the expert educators or the expert mental health people, but we are definitely like the connecting piece and the jack of all trades. It's like we know just enough about everything, but our specialty is kids.
The Boys and Girls Club we collaborated with this year, and it's been an absolute amazing partnership. Them guys are in the business of working with kids, and that's what we needed. We needed that support and that knowledge and experience. And
the LCO youth learned stories about the resilience of their family, clan, and nation. Most importantly, they learned about the 7 grandfather teachings. The Ojibwe teachings and values are foundational.
The cultural pieces this year have been expanded, so the kids are working really hard to create and make their own ribbon dresses or ribbon shirts, and that's really exciting. And they also made some tobacco pouches. They're continuing to do the language and the dance. This year we have a drummer and a singer here, so the dance really has the feel of being a powwow, and then the kids that brought their ribbon dresses wore it, so it was really a lot of fun to participate in that.
When the first powwow was coming up, my counselor told us to go make ribbon skirts, and I was super excited to, and then I didn't know where it was, so I kind of got lost because no one was with me. But then after like 5 minutes I found it, and I was really excited because I saw all the stuff that I needed. It was fun sewing. I had a little bit of help, but the colors are, it's like a flower design, and it's pink and purple.
My name is John. I'm 13. I'm going to 8th grade. And I don't know, that's it. Yeah, maybe that I made a shirt.
I've helped my mom and my grandma get the stuff for ribbon skirts. Like I got to pick up fabric, materials and stuff. But I didn't really get to do any of the sewing. I didn't really know how to hem it or do the line to put the elastic in.
I'm really proud of that they've made that next step into making their own regalia and having those people there to guide them and help them.
I think the best part of this year was them being able to make, she made her ribbon skirt, and she got, and he made his ribbon shirt, and first thing when I talked to them on the phone when they got back was they showed me their ribbon shirt and her ribbon skirt. I think it gave them a sense of pride and, a sense of culture, and being able to know that they made that, or, have that, and they can wear it to any kind of gathering.
Our purpose here is to learn and teach so that those who come after us have an easier journey, because we have learned the hardships, learned how to get through them, and taught the next generation a simpler path.
I want to do good. I want to continue to do good. I want to help others in a good way so that it radiates, it ripples effect. Being able to be there for others, being able to teach these young ones how to do things in a good way is because once they know, it will share with the others, but then they also bring it to their own young kids.
That's culture, and that's who we are. In the way we start our day with putting down tobacco, in the way we look for opportunities to grow, in the way we look for opportunities to support others, to nurture, to love and respect, in the way that we care for our elders, in the way that we protect our youth, and in the way that we parent, grandparent, husband and wife, in the way that we build family and community, in the way that we look outside ourselves. So one of the things I like to instill upon students right away is the recognition that when you are speaking, you are breathing life into the language. and that your actual physical body is waking that language back up for our people, and that it belongs to you. It will always be yours, and nobody can ever take that from you.
It was actually pretty cool since I got to like know the words, and then I can like speak to my family because a lot of my family knows it, but I barely don't.
So when we started working with the kids who were extremely fluent compared to the kids who had thought they had no or very little language skills, I saw a very natural support system. I saw my fluent speakers supporting kids that they might not even work with or play with or choose to hang out with because they had a connection that was deeper than today's dramas.
My kids went to Wadukadaring for a few years, like majority of their schooling so far. They've been in the Hayward School for the last year and this coming year, but they know a lot of Ojibwe, they speak a lot of Ojibwe, so they really enjoyed getting to help lead the language groups and stuff like that.
I mean, it's good to be learning about my culture, so yeah. It's just like getting to know more about words and like culture things, about like the grandfather teachings and whatever.
Put the 7 grandfather teachings in a way of being respectful and being kind to one another, more like being nice to people, because once you're nice to people, they'll be nice back to you. And we should respect everybody, we should love everybody.
When it comes to smudging and tobacco, it's crazy because like last night when I was bringing it around and I was smudging everybody, and it was like the second they smelled the sage, they lined up. Like it wasn't me calling them. They lined up, they came, and every single child was like it just calmed them. And we were, the boys and I, we were talking, I'm like, I wonder why. And one of the kids was, because it's memories.
To teach our kids through the woodland dances is real powerful, to have that respect of the swan dance, where they migrate, and to find a good, safe home for their children. There's all origin to that song and dance for that. And the beauty to know that our mothers take care of our children at all times.
I really like the dances because that's when we all get together and the boys can sing and the girls can dance and everyone's dancing. Even the staff here, like they dance with us, and it's like it's amazing to see them coming out here and learning our culture.
It was like a new experience, but like it was like coming back to it because I haven't danced in since I was a kid, and I stopped doing it because I got lazy. That's where I started getting my anger issues, because I started playing a lot of video games and all that.
The first year they really liked learning about the different dance styles and watching, I think there may be teen mentors or their young adult mentors with their regalia on, and there was a grass dancer, and my son just loved it and wants to be a grass dancer, so that's really cool.
It's gonna be my second year as a counselor, and what brought me back is just the energy. It's kind of like a powwow, like you just don't get that energy anywhere else. And I also have a lot of fun here. I think I probably have more fun than some of the kids.
My son, he got to lead the fish dance, and I think that was a big step for him because he's a little shy when it comes to dancing. So I think it's good for them to have more exposure in different places. If you get it at home, you get it at school, you get it at powwows, or the different places you go, but also into a camp. It just more normalizes language, culture, our traditions, our teachings, and that's really important as we're revitalizing all of this.
Some of the people that have been really involved are reporting that they're seeing positive changes in the youth that they've interacted with, in terms of the way they are respectful to the elders, the way that they greet them.
Yeah, the boys were really excited. You could see a change in their behavior, having respect for people, themselves, and the land. They had asked me if they could get their Ojibwe names. That was really important to them. You could just see a huge difference in who they were and having that pride of being Native American. They were in homes where they weren't exposed to any of the culture or language, and they were like really like kind of thirsty for that.
We had kids that did a whole 360 where it was just like, wow, we thought, you know, this child had some anxiety or some anger in them, and then you're like, where did it go? It's not there anymore. They're happy and they're loving it.
And then coming back this year, a lot of them have matured, grown, and a lot of them are experiencing, you know, new emotions that they probably are feeling more deeply now.
Ever since last year when I was a little butthead, I was like a terrorizer at the time. I was terrible. People were scared of me, but I mean, a lot changed, but at the same time, like not a lot. I mean, personality-wise, not much, but haven't got much of that anger issues or fighting back.
Our struggle was the no cell phone world. They don't have their electronics with them. So it's a whole different world when you're not sitting there in front of your screen.
Things I'm learning felt different being without my phone. I mean, like, was it longer days? Felt more relaxed, I guess. Just chilling. I can just see the lake by itself and mesmerizing.
I think it helps with the kids like interacting with each other, because if you're shy, then you're just gonna want to go on your phone. But when you're out here and you don't have your phone to like put you in a little box to get you away from everybody, it kind of forces you to get out of your shell and go and interact with other kids, make friends, stuff like that. It obviously makes them go to bed faster because they're not looking at their phone all hours of the night.
I think being in nature in general has power in itself. When you are out of your comfort zone, when you aren't on your phones, when you don't even have lights in your building, like I said, it makes you vulnerable and it makes you draw on those strengths, or it makes you seek those strengths.
And when we got here, I was really nervous. Like there was butterflies in my stomach. I was super scared because we're almost 2 hours away from home, and it's like pretty far. You're in like the middle of nowhere. You're going into the woods and stuff. But once we got here, it was nice. All these cabins were like cool. I've never slept in a cabin like this before.
It's more than I expected, and living here is fun. I mean, I just don't like the mosquitoes here. They're annoying.
Through the community, we just have had so much positive feedback, and everybody wants to be involved, and we're even hearing from other child support agencies that they're like, yes, next year, like, we want to be involved. And it's just, I see it growing. I see it just getting to where it's just a part of our community, where it's just a normal summer thing, where we're just like, okay, summer is here. The Good Life Camp is open.
Through all of it, it is intended to kind of improve their sense of connectedness to their culture, but to each other and to the adults that are here as well. One of the things that I've been joking about is that Mindy, who's the project coordinator, I started to call her an intervention by herself. So like we have the camp and we have the middle school program, but then Mindy herself is an intervention because she's really taken it upon herself to get to know all these kids. And she goes to their sporting events, and she makes an intentional effort to connect with these kids out in the community. And that kind of positive adult relationship with someone outside their families, I think, is really important.
I know that out there in the world after we leave camp, I know that these kids still talk about camp. Every time I see them, they run up to me, oh, I can't wait for summer camp this year. And we talk about things that they accomplished and the fears that they dealt with, and jumping off the towers. Like that's the biggest conversation we have. Are you gonna jump off the tower? Are you gonna jump off the third tower? So that camp is never over.
What it did too, you kind of united them the camp kids in the sense that a lot of them did not know each other. They lived on the reservation, same reservation and everything, and in and out of schools together and stuff, but really didn't know each other. This gave them a chance to really connect with each other, and I think that they treat each other better within the community, and that's what you want. More, I guess, mindful in their actions with each other.
I think each year there'll be more of it as well. And we'll incorporate different things and different people. And, you know, in the future, maybe instead of one language teacher, we have 3. Instead of one dance protocol, we have, you know, Becky for women and then somebody for men. Because we do need that man. That is one thing we are missing, is that elder, that man elder that our boys can look up to. So next year, I really hope somebody comes and says, hey, that could be me. I could be that person that, you know, our young men need at camp.
The payoff is going to be huge. I cannot wait to see the types of parents that these kids are going to be, giving them an understanding and a connection to who they are as Native people is part of that gift, so that their parenting lives are rich and full and loving and supportive and cultural. So it's very intentional. Not every child's going to grow up to be a parent, but every child will be involved in parenting, whether you're an auntie or a wa'a, or, you know, you will have a role in our tribe as, you know, a parent, no matter what happens in your life.
And you have to start somewhere. My thought is start with those kids. When I was young, it was always, don't forget who you are. You are, you know, you are an amazing person, and you have so much possibilities. And just remember who you are. Never forget your Indian identity.
Camp Good Life took one person's vision, a handful of dedicated community members, and a cadre of local organizations to come together to plan and build it. It will need continued support and funding to keep it growing. Join us. We are stronger together.